All right, so part two of choosing our attachments for our massage gun, we're going to talk about surface area and how many pounds per square inch of contact we're going to have. So if we look at these general tips, right, like these are three of the more firm tips. If we look at these, right, in size order, the area that's going to make contact with the skin goes from largest surface area to middle to the smallest surface area. When we look at the same amount of weight, if we put a 5-pound weight on top of these, this is going to disperse that weight more distributedly. This one's going to have a more focalized approach, meaning that the force of the percussion in the gun is going to penetrate deeper in with the smaller tip. All right, so we're not just necessarily looking to see like, hey, can I fit it in between the gap that I'm working on? We also want to make sure that the amount of pressure going into the tissue is going to be appropriate as well. So usually for more general broad areas or even more tender and inflamed areas, the wider, broader tips can be better. Something that's a little bit more resilient, they're trying to get a little bit more focalized in with a little bit more intensity, a higher dosage if you would. We're going to use the more narrow base tips. And the same thing holds true with like the round foam balls too, right? Given the same amount of pressure and the same amount of weight being applied to it, the same setting on the gun, this one, the larger one, is going to give a relatively lower dosage of therapy than the smaller one. The smaller one, having a smaller surface area, is going to deliver more pressure in that same space than the big one because less of it is going to be touching. There's going to be more skin to absorb the pressure as it contacts with the bigger one than the small one. So as far as dosage, larger one, lower dosage. Smaller one, higher dosage. For these three, least dosage, middle, lesser dosage. One thing I do like about this one, just to add a little tip about this is one of my favorite tips because not only is it a smaller dosage where if you have your pressure on the gun lighter or harder, depending on what kind of intensity you're pushing in with, it also allows you to go at two places at the same time across something like the spine, but also to go over the same spot twice. And a lot of times what I'll do is I'll actually kind of do a wheelie. And I'll have the first one hitting, not at this much of extreme angle, but to show you, the first one would be hitting relatively lighter, as the second one would be digging in deeper if they were hitting into the skin. So it allows you to kind of like get a first rut cut through and soften the tissues up, and the second one go in a little more penetrating. So what you think about that as dosage, right? This is a machine, it's a medical device, and we are applying dosages of therapy, just like our soft, flexible ones are a relatively lesser dosage. The harder, firmer ones are going to be a higher dosage. Same thing goes for surface area as well.